Welcome back, everybody. My name is Soyo, and this is episode 4 of Casual Stellaris to Relax and Study to. In this episode, I am showcasing some new audio settings on the microphone. Hopefully the quality is noticeably different, and hopefully that difference is better. Turned down some of the noise, or turned on some of the noise suppression to hopefully eliminate some of the static and provide more fidelity to the voice. Anyways, in this episode, what we'll be focusing on for our primary goals is addressing this drone menace that we have going on here in the Kornagi system. We currently have a 4.4 thousand fleet power collection of mining drones here that I do not like being this close to home. So hopefully today we can build up our Classis 1 fleet and maybe even a secondary fleet to a large enough power to attack these drones. Secondarily, we're going to continue working on the Unifying Promise situation, trying to prove to our empire that we have the technical knowledge and wherewithal to create a stellar empire that we promised them. And we are currently about halfway through this situation, so we have another 20 years before the promise is up. Currently, we are working on a new technologies initiative, causing our research to be 10% faster, but our researchers to be 35% more expensive. A tertiary goal for us today is going to be continuing to observe the primitives on the Rosmere planet here, the ocean world of Rosmere. Currently, this society is in the late medieval era of their kind of history, and if the opportunity arises and if it makes sense today, we may start to interact with this population a little bit. Ultimately, our goal as fanatic xenophobes is going to be to convert this population into prisoners with jobs, as it were, but we will see if we get to that today. Otherwise, we are going to continue expanding our borders, hopefully fill in our home sector here, and overall just continue building up the empire. So the year is 2220. We are going to unpause the game and give me just a moment to catch up with where I am, because it has been another few days since I have played. I know that we are in the process of colonizing this planet of Grulia, which will hopefully happen soon. I think that the Foldora system, yeah, so we've got about, looks like our colony ship just wrapped up, so it's going to move over to colonize that planet. And we're just going to keep doing what we've been doing.
System charted.
Exploring, expanding, and repeating. Let's see. I do appreciate the feedback I've gotten on the first couple videos that I've put out. The first video, particularly episode 1, has done very well. As of the time of this recording, it is up above 70 views. Looks like we have an encounter. We have made first contact with the mysterious aliens in the Orglion system. For now, we have codenamed them the Pay Menace, which we used already, but that's fine, until we can find out more about them. If they possess a language, we should decipher it so that we may assess how much of a threat they pose. Before I unpause, I'm going to look in the system to see if I can... Whoa! There is a lot going on in this system, so I'm getting the feeling that these guys aren't going to be super friendly. That is a big fleet, look at that. 16,000 fleet power. That is a substantial fleet. They have 22 corvettes, 14 frigates, and 8 cruisers. That is a big fleet, and they have some stations spread around here. I wonder who these guys are. Well, that certainly doesn't feel good. Let's go ahead and assign an envoy. We'll assign Appia Pumptina to start establishing contact with them. I'm not even sure if that's something we'll want to... These are people want to know. They're kind of blocking us off from the rest of this cluster, so I'm just going to send Vibius to the other branch here. Glad he made it out. I like that guy. I don't want him getting hurt. Outbreak. A novel zootonic disease has appeared on Rosmere 3. Without the medical technology required to combat the infection, the population is quickly succumbing to misery and death. So the primitives here that I just finished talking about have a plague going on. We have 3 possible options. We can say watch and learn, which should provide some interesting insights, it says, and we will not be able to change the approach, so we may learn something if we just watch. We could provide aid, which will cost 25 food per month, 25 society research, and 25 unity per month. That is straight up too expensive. Or we could promote the disease, which costs even more, and will probably purge the planet. I think we'll watch and learn for now. I'm not quite ready to take over this world or take over its population.
Vessels upgraded.
In the words of Lord Farquaad, some of you may die, but that is a sacrifice I am willing to make. So we'll see what happens. Alright, I know for sure that once we have colonized Grulia, which should be relatively soon.
Colonization in progress.
There we go, the colony has started. Once we are ready to start making some buildings here, I'm going to build some fortresses to expand our fleet capacity.
Complete.
Because I would like to have 1.5 to 2 fleets ready to attack the drones here. And especially with knowledge of this big threat to the south now, I certainly want to build up my forces a little more. So hopefully that will not take too long. Let's see, I do need to take stock of what kind of planets we have around. We, of course, can only live on arid or desert worlds, but the primitive pops, if they survive this disease that's knocking them out, we can put them on the wet worlds. Let's see, we finished a research. We have UV lasers. That feels good for our military. Let's go ahead and... So right now, our physics research is boosted by 37%, and the other 2 disciplines are boosted by 22%. I have the option to boost it by an additional 10%. Or boost our stations by 10%, or our physics by 20%. I think I will do that. So we'll continue boosting our physics research speed.
Construction complete.
Have the Isidore continue to explore the home territories here. And I am, speaking of, going to go ahead and switch out. I'm going to take Memricus off the council chair and put my favorite child, Vibius, in his place. Now, Vibius does not quite have as many Empire-wide benefits as Memricus did yet, but as he levels up, he should find some. We finished analyzing the debris of the drones. We got a 10% boost to mining drone and ion thruster technology, and a little bit of physics and engineering research. Let's have the Hephaestio continue exploring the front over there. Alright, let's see. Keep expanding our borders a little bit here, grabbing more and more territory. Can't forget about these here, the sentient crystals. Looks like we have a total power of about 1600 in this system here. We should be able to handle that relatively easily, I think. I believe that their weapons, I don't remember, but I think that they bypass shields. But that being said, our fleet is... Actually, it's not quite strong enough to take them on, so we'll wait a little bit on that. Let's go ahead and make a new fleet. I'm going to leave this one named Classis 1. I'm going to create a new one. And I'm going to add... Right now we only have 8 additional fleet capacity, so we'll go ahead and do that. Just 8 additional Elva-class ships. We have found an anomaly in the Gamma Velorum system. It's going to take 180 days to research, so I'm going to leave it for now. Once we are finished with our expansion, or nearing the end of our expansion, and have an explorer to spare, we will start kind of backtracking and doing all of these anomalies.
Construction complete.
Okay. Our star bases are pretty cheap. They only cost 45 influence, but that is still too much for what we have now. Let's see, we finished the technology. Our population growth speed is now 10% faster thanks to genome mapping. And I'm going to go ahead and study adaptive bureaucracy, which will increase our edicts fund, which is not super important. We're not using that edicts fund right now. We don't have a use for it, but it will open up the covert operations path, which will be good. Let's see, the pay menace. Very loud. I'm going to have to change those settings. Okay, I'll wait. Although their dwellings on habitat stations would suggest an advanced society, Envoy Appia is unsure whether we are indeed dealing with an intelligent life form. They seem unremittingly hostile, so much so that a stable society seems almost unthinkable. Even during our brief period of investigation, we have observed several displays of pure barbarism. They seem to have a language, but our linguists are still working on deciphering it, so that we can make sense of this display. We'll say disturbing, we must be watchful. There's a chance that this is a marauder empire, who are not necessarily always hostile. We can actually hire them to attack other empires if we want to. But I still am not super pleased with them being this close to home. I'm looking at Boros. Boros is our forge world, much like the Boros Guild in Magic the Gathering. Foundries and factories and all that kind of thing. We have an open building spot, 2 available jobs, so I'm going to leave that spot open for now. Let's check in on our other planets briefly, though. Azoria, our capital, has 1 open job and 6 possible amenities. Let's see. Our population would grow a bit faster if we had more housing available, even though we have 4 available. I'm still going to wait just until that last job fills, but I think that what we'll plan for is perhaps either another... most likely another industrial district, so that we can both increase our alloys and continue increasing our consumer goods. Demiria has an unemployed pop, no housing, and no open jobs. low amenities. So it's going to call for a city district. And then after that city district is done, it will open up a building spot. And in that building spot, I will put a hollow theaters to increase our amenities and a little bit of Unity production as well. Let's see, here is Classes 2, our second fleet.
Star system charted.
Return to that in just a moment. Luckily, it looks like this little branch here that we have Vibius exploring kind of ends right here, so we shouldn't have much more of a rabbit hole to go down. What we'll do then, once he's done with this branch, is send him back up this little arm and explore to the north of Arai.
Anomaly found.
We may actually want to grab this L-gate system as well. We'll probably do that. We have two L-gates very close to each other. Another anomaly in Gamma Valorum. It's only 100 days. There is significant scarring on the surface of this world in a pattern that cannot be natural. From orbit, the massive rifts look almost like writing. Let's go ahead and research that. It's quick enough. Briefly, I'm going to look at Classes 2, and let's go ahead and hire an Admiral for it if we can. Right now we have our Minister of Defense serving as the Admiral of Classes 1. Now I see a negative trait here. That's only if she sits on a council chair. Otherwise she has an army boosting effect. This person has a military fleet effect. So this is going to be the better option. Commander Nona Antonia. She's 34 years old. She believes in militarist ethics. And when she is the Admiral of the fleet, our hulls will regain 0.2% of their HP per day, and our armor will regain 0.5%. I can get down with that. Ooh, we've made another encounter. Encounter in Withrili. We've made first contact. We are naming them the Alpha Menace. Let's see, 3.7 thousand fleet power. And these are not drones. These appear to be more of those space amoeba. Worrying. There's an habitable alpine world in this system. So let's send another envoy that way to continue studying them, and Vibius has narrowly escaped with his life twice now. I think he is due a vacation. Let's send him up to this black hole. Great vacation spot, so I hear. We'll have him survey that so that we can grab that system with that L-gate in it, and then we will send him up that north arm. If we can. Okay, religious mania, let's see. The zoonotic disease on Rosmere 3 continues to spread. By now, most of the planet's major settlements have been infected. As mortality rates continue to rise, the sheer scale of the disaster has resulted in an explosive proliferation of religious sects and apocalyptic cults. Interesting. We'll say understood. We're going to gain some society research and an insight technology.
Technology secured.
Looks like we have finished basic strikecraft, which is awesome. We can now build hangar bays on our stations, and if we unlock ships large enough to field hangar bays themselves, we will be able to have those as well. Let's go ahead and unlock the fusion missiles, the upgrade to the nuclear missiles that we're currently running on a lot of our ships. These will do more damage, and in general, once we're done with the drone menace and any of the really armor and hull heavy opponents, I like to run missiles on a lot of my crafts because they bypass shields. So we'll do that with plans to upgrade our armor next, perhaps. Boros still has that open building spot, but there's no point in building in there just yet, so we'll wait. Let's see what the zoonotic plague is doing again. We're just going to continue watching and learning what happens to the population on Rosmere 3. Looks like we have an update from Memricus in the Gamma Valorum system. He says, someone used a mining laser from orbit approximately 5,000 years ago to carve a large body of writing into the surface of Gamma Valorum 2. The massive script covers a large portion of the planet's upper hemisphere and appears to be a short story chronicling the difficult life of an alien mercenary. Fascinating, so we're going to gain 3 society research from that planet. That's pretty neat, using a planet as a piece of paper. I think they do that in the 3-Body Problem series as well. There's a moment where they engrave humanity's history on the surface of Pluto, I believe, as kind of a historical record. These systems down here appear to be pretty valuable in terms of research, so I would like to grab these if I can. Of course, I'm not pleased about there being these threats in the systems, but we'll handle that if we can. Let's keep reinforcing Classes 2. Let's check in on Grulia. We're about maybe 60% of the way through colonizing. Actually, let's go ahead and put a fortress on Boros, or stronghold. So this will increase our soldier jobs by 2 on the planet, which will then increase our defense armies by 6 and our naval capacity by 8. So So we'll have that on there, and let's see what happened in the Ibloranda system. Impressive structures litter the surface of Ibloranda 1, practically begging for some archaeological work. Right at the limit of 120 days, so we'll go ahead and research that.
Construction.
Classis 1 can be upgraded with our UV lasers, I believe. So normally I don't pay too much attention to the weapon stats, but in this case I'm just curious. So currently our small blue lasers deal 8 to 21 damage, or an average of 3.07 damage per day. And when we upgrade, we will check back in and see what the UV lasers do instead. Should be much better. UV does 10 to 27 damage per day, so a good increase, and 3.9 damage per day on average. Bit of a step up. Now I wonder if we have enough power to actually be running these. Even with the fusion reactors, that might be a little much. Yeah, it looks like we can't, so we only have one additional power. So we may need to make a judgment call, take the afterburners off, leave the reactor boosters on, take the small hit to ship speed, but equip more UV lasers. Yeah, so if we do that, we can fit all 3 UV lasers and still have 25 power to spare. Our evasion only decreases by 6% in this case, so I think that we'll keep it this way. We will need to wait until that fleet is done retrofitting before we save that new design and then re-upgrade them. We have an encounter around this L gate that we were looking at in the Gindor black hole system. We have made first contact with mysterious aliens in the Gindor system. For now, we have codenamed them the menace until we can find out more about them. If they possess a language, we should decipher it so that we can assess how much of a threat they pose. I don't have an envoy to spare, so we will have to wait. Which I'm not super happy about. Look at this lone little planet orbiting this black hole. That would be a very interesting place to live. We have an update from our envoy studying the Pay Menace. Now the Pay Menace was this big one in the Orkleon system. Having decoded what counts as a language among them, Envoy Appia has identified the Pay Menace as a nomadic civilization known as the Kreshk Freeholders. They occupy a number of large space stations in and around the system. They house the bulk of their massive numbers in crowded and squalid conditions. Sounds lovely. Despite this, or perhaps because of it, they seem to have developed a strong martial culture. Life in the cold void has become second nature to them, and they are very adept at space warfare. There's no government. Instead, they are divided into factions that endlessly compete with one another for resources and respect. Given their large population and shipbuilding capability of their stations, constant infighting is the only thing keeping them from growing into a significant threat to galactic peace. Let's contact them.
Power is hailing us.
Now, we're xenophobic, but we're also militarists, so I think that perhaps we respect this to some degree. This is a warlike guild. We are warlike people. You know, game recognizes game, right? Let's see what he says. He says, Outsiders, we are the Kreshk. Unlike the civilized star nations of the galaxy, we have no single master to lord over us, but I have been chosen to convey this message to you on behalf of all of the houses. Do not try to impose your soft and effete ways upon us. You may freely send your alien ships into our territory, but do not expect them to return. Alright? Our warriors will welcome the diversion, however. Transmit on this frequency only if you wish to offer tribute, or if you have need of mercenaries, as well as the means to pay for them. Interesting. So, they're not going to attack us, but they aren't going to let us through. And I really want to go through this system because I can then start exploring this kind of galactic arm. Now we have another path into it, so it's not a big deal, but I don't like them sitting on my doorstep. And they did mention that their infighting is the only thing keeping them from growing into a massive threat because of how well they can build ships. So I think for now we're going to keep them friendly, but we will definitely have this as an item on our agenda to perhaps preemptively strike at them as soon as we can. That will be a while. I mean, look at that fleet power in that system. That is well over 20,000, maybe even 30,000 fleet power between the stations and the fleets. I don't like that. But if we find other civilizations, and hey, that is our first civilization we found, don't let me diminish the significance of that. But if we do find other civs, we may hire them as mercenaries to go raid them for a little while. That might be something. Gindor Black Hole, we have discovered a resource point for dark matter. Interesting, so we definitely want the system. Dark matter is pretty rare. It's one of our advanced resources here, the rare resources. It is a middle to late game resource, but it will be good to have a source of it early. Ibloranda 1 is uninhabited and indeed uninhabitable, but not unvisited. Its surface is littered with tall cenotaphs carved from some mineral not native to the planet, evidently placed here by some artistically inclined spacefaring race. The flowing lines of the monoliths deftly chart a history so fantastical it must surely be fictional. Surely. Let's image them. We get 1,000 engineering research for that. Speaking of, let's see if we can update our ship design now. Yes, we can. So now we will go ahead and retrofit the Classis 1 fleet. So we're sitting at 1.6 thousand fleet power. Once we get these new lasers on, we'll see what we're at. That may take a while, though, because we are
Technology secured.
outpacing our alloy production.
Star system charted.
Boosted our physics research. Let's unlock the Global Energy Management Technology next. This will give us the Edict Capacity Subsidies, which will increase the output of our technicians by 50%, but increase their upkeep by 0.5 energy credits. It's basically free energy, though. So we'll do that, and it will give us the energy grid building, which we can have one on per planet. And what these do is they increase the amount of energy that technicians who work generators produce by 1. So it kind of buffs the energy production. I mentioned in an earlier episode that even though Demiria is a factory world, it does have a lot of space for generators. So I may build a few generator districts here and an energy grid building, just so that we can still get the benefit of that space, even though it's not a purely generator world. We finished surveying the black hole, so let's send him up this arm away from Arai. And then once we finish this research station, which I'm not sure why we haven't started building it, we will then claim the Gindor black hole system. So I'm going to pick him. He's currently building the research station, but then I'm going to shift, click on the build a starbase option.
Anomaly found.
Grulia is almost done colonizing, and we have found another... Gamma Valorum is just full of mysteries, huh? Lots of anomalies. An abandoned ship has been left to drift aimlessly above this planet. The massive sails protruding from its hull suggest it relied on solar power to function. Let's look into some old ships. We're scared of the Xenos, so maybe we can learn something from their ships. The Alpha Menace, that was this one here in the Windthrill system. Upon entering Windthrill, our sensors picked up strange readings. Dismissed at first as glorified asteroids, things quickly changed when it was discovered that these entities react aggressively to movement in space, even at a great distance. Observation of these entities, preferably from a safe distance, is advised. Let's keep it up. See if we can learn something about them. Okay, Demiria has a free building spot. We're going to be running low on amenities soon, so I will go ahead and build some hollow theaters to entertain the people. We have an update from the World of the Primitives. Let me go ahead and adjust the sound setting. That's very annoying. I believe that's going to be effect volume. Just go slightly lower there. As the plague continues to ravage Rosmere 3, the number of dead and dying is staggering. There is no cure. Further suffering can only be alleviated, not prevented. Well, you know, it would be terrible if the whole planet did die, but it wouldn't be that bad because even though they're primitive, we are xenophobes, we're scared of them. I don't want them becoming a threat later on. As much as it would be nice to have some free labor, we might just have to let nature run its course.
Vessels upgraded.
Okay, so we started with 1.6 thousand fleet power. We are now at 1.7, so a slight boost of power there from upgrading our weapons. Messiah Syndrome. On Rosmere 3, a number of so-called messiahs have appeared. With promises of divine deliverance, each of these prophets has amassed a substantial following. On top of the ravages of disease, violent clashes between competing sects are increasingly commonplace. So we're going to gain some progress towards an insight tech and 527 society research. At least we're getting some benefit off of watching this tragedy happen. Grulia has finished colonizing. Let's put this anomaly off to the side for a moment, focus on Grulia. So Grulia is located here, in the Grulia system as it were. That is in a choke point on the western front. So I'm going to want at least one fortress here, so that in the future, if any invaders try to come through, we have more defensive capability from the planet itself. Otherwise, I see a lot of space for agriculture and mining districts, although the planet size is only 13, so we are going to be limited on the amount of districts we can put in place. I would like a tech world eventually, a world dedicated to research. We're still running low on consumer goods, but that can be alleviated elsewhere. We have a factory world as well. And a unification world would be good as well to boost our Unity production to continue pushing us down the traditions path. So there's a lot of options here. I think for now I'm going to label this a tech world, which will increase our build speed for research lab and reduce the upkeep for our researchers by 25 and 20% respectively. But the first thing I'm going to build is going to be a stronghold, both to provide the defensive capability and to boost our fleet, or our naval capacity, so that we can continue filling out classes 2, our newer fleet. We have an update on the Solar Sailor. It was built by an unknown culture, is several thousand years old. Big tear through one of the sails. Disabled the vessel. Technology is severely outdated. It does possess some interesting engineering design choices. So we get about 500 research out of that. Not bad. Now Grulia, you'll notice, back to Grulia, this planet here, is in a different kind of area of the rest of our empire. You'll notice this kind of white borders here, and then the darker gray borders out here. And that is because Grulia does not belong to a sector. A sector is like a state if the empire was a country. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new sector, and you'll watch as every planet within 4 jumps of Grulia is now brought into the fold. Now what that means is that we can then assign a governor to that sector, using our planets and sectors window here. And usually you want this to be either an official or a scientist. Now we're already over our scientist capacity, which means we're taking a punishment to our Unity upkeep anyways. But we do have space for officials. So let's find a good official. I think that we will go with Paula Capacia here. She has the Righteous Leader trait, which if she is the governor of a planet, reduces crime by 25, and a sector reduces crime by 10. And because she's an official, for each level that she has, which right now she's only level 1, we will increase monthly cohesion by 1. In a federation, we're not on 1, so we don't have to worry about that. Same with Galactic Community. But she will increase the resource output of both basic, advanced, and strategic by 1% per level, so up to 10%. And if she is a planet governor, which she also will be, it will be 2% per level as well, so up to 20%. Pretty good. So we'll keep that. Now putting her in charge of the sector also makes her the governor of the planet, because the planet is the seat of the sector. It's like the sector capital, basically. Hephaestio finished its scan. I'm going to go ahead and flesh out this little cluster here, so that I can then decide if I want to continue south or west. And we'll have our Thracia ship build an outpost there. Classes 2 can be upgraded with our new UV laser technology. We are kind of stagnating on alloys, making 26 per month, but it's just not enough to keep up with the demands of the shipyards. Now we have space for 2 more star bases, so we should look around and see where we could use another one. There may not be a great spot for one yet, but Grulia will want one actually. This is another choke point, and we have a planet in the system, so we should go ahead and create a starport here. I'm going to buy a bunch of alloys, as much as I can. So 1-2 was 500, 125 was then 625 plus 50 was 675 alloys, not bad. Let's go ahead and upgrade our starport here. We have an update from our envoy, the space amoebas. The entities encountered are horrifying life forms. They are called space amoeba, and the creature is larger than the average corvette. Interesting. There would be little harm in putting the monstrosities out of their misery. For science or equivalent, we can say easy prey, which increases our damage to them by 33%. We gain 1,000 energy for every fleet of theirs that we destroy, and gain 23 influence. Or we can say fascinating creatures, which will allow us to study them and increase our influence by 23. We are terrified of alien life forms. We're saying easy prey. We are going to attack them as soon as possible. Now let's go back to the black hole system and assign that envoy to this contact and see if we can start figuring out who it was we met there.
Anomaly found.
Okay, we found... Vibius has found another anomaly. Only 80 days. It says, by chance we stumbled upon a faint signal during the survey of this moon. Source is a small object in orbit. Signal contains no message. Could it be a distress transponder? Let's find out.
Construction complete.
Okay, we finished our star base here in the Iblaranda system. Let's build some mining stations and research stations. Demiria has a free job, but we just finished the Hollow Theaters, so we have filled that space. And let's go ahead and queue up an industrial district to start on some more consumer goods production. We've claimed the black hole. Now you'll notice, again, we have this dark matter available here from the black hole itself, but we cannot harvest it yet. We don't know how. We have not found that technology yet, so we're going to have to wait. Let's go take Greco.
Technology secured.
Ooh, a bunch of stuff. Let's see, technology. We finished our adaptive bureaucracy technology, and I see a lot of different options here. I see alien topography, which will increase our available envoys by 0.5, so we can have half of a new envoy. I'm not sure how that works. And increases our maximum districts by 1. That's a pretty good technology, but I'm going to wait. I think it'll stay here. Yes. It's an insight technology, so this will stay here until we research it, so we'll find it later. We could do stellar expansion, increasing our starbase capacity by 2. Right now, we've got that one building in Grulia, so we'll be at 4 out of 5. We could do space combat, which increases our fleet command limit by 20. Or fleet support, which will increase our naval capacity by 30. I'm going to go for naval capacity. So we can have another full fleet and maybe even a third. Mummified pilot. The mummified remains of a single individual belonging to a previously unknown mammalian species have been found. Dressed in a flight suit, helmet, maybe a fighter pilot. Tragic. And Boros is ready for an upgrade. So, when we first colonized Boros, the colonists used the ship itself, the ship that carried about 1 billion people to the planet, as their kind of capital building. So that's our reassembled ship shelter. Currently, it provides 3 housing, 7 amenities, 1 building slot, and 2 colonist jobs. We can now upgrade it to a planetary administration, which brings us up to 5 housing, 5 amenities, 2 buildings, 1 corporate building that will go in the holding tab. That's for other corporations to build buildings here. 4 planetary defense armies, 1 enforcer job, and 2 politician jobs. I will absolutely do that. Will cost 540 minerals and take about a year. Boros is becoming its own place, and we've unlocked the last kind of technology in the prosperity tradition tree. So this is Public Works Division. Our city districts will provide 1 additional housing, and when it comes to ring worlds and ecumonopoli, which we have not come anywhere near building, we will get some benefits there as well. So we will finish off the prosperity tree, and now we have an ascension perk. So these are powerful perks that really define the direction that your empire is moving in when it comes to your plans. There's too many options available right now to go through each individually, so I'm going to go ahead and pick one, and then I will just discuss why. There's 2 good options. I can do technological ascendancy, which increases our research speed by 10%, the chance that we find rare technologies in the research menu by 1.5 times, or we could do transcendent learning, which will increase our experience gain by 25% for our leaders and increase our scientist capacity by 2. Now, the reason that transcendent learning would be good is because we're currently over our scientist capacity. Let's see, where's my leaders menu? There we are. We have 4 out of 3, so that is increasing our scientist upkeep by 33% and reducing their experience gain by 14%. So doing that ascension would alleviate that burden. And then technological ascendancy is a flat bonus to research and some rarer technologies. I like both of these, but I think for now, just out of necessity, I'm going to go with transcendent learning. Having an additional scientist will allow us to change the governor of Grulia to a scientist type instead, which will then provide specific boosts to the research of the tech world. We will do that once we actually get this tech world on its feet and moving. So we do have some time there at least. Now before we have enough unity, it's going to take 102 months for our next ascension. Well, it won't let me preview, so we will talk about what we choose and when we choose it in that case. Never mind. See, I've got plenty of alloys. Let's keep reinforcing classes 2. Let's bring this up to 20 if we can. I'd like 2 fleets of 20 ships each in order to address this drone menace. My goal is really going to be to knock these guys out by the end of this video if I can. We've made an encounter in Diadem. I think that this is a little bug. I know that what we've just found is going to be one of like the roaming empires, not a fully fledged AI empire, maybe a merchant guild or a military guild or something, because it says that we encountered them in our home system. There's no way that they would have made it through all of our borders to our home system without us knowing, but it is what it is. Let's go ahead and assign an envoy to them just to find out who they are.
System charted.
Okay, we're finally done in Gamma Valorum. That looks like a pretty valuable system anyways. Let's move on to Dwumgar. And you are done building your starbase. Let's build those mining stations. And we have found a new archaeological site. We're going to skip it for now. We do not have the time.
Complete.
Looks like it was Vibius that found it, though. Our head of research, Prima Atia, has leveled up. She is now level 4. Now, she is currently in the Ponel system right here, in the Daturi Expanse. This appears to be some kind of nebula. Yes. So we could give her the Explorer trait, which increases her ship sensor range by 1, so we'll be able to see 1 farther out. That compounds nicely with our Hyperlane Specialization Civic, and increases her Anomaly Discover chance and her survey speed. We could do the Scholar trait, which increases her Anomaly Research speed, Archaeology speed, and Astral Rift speed. We could give her a Governor bonus, Analyst here, or an Empire bonus, Statistician. I'm going to go with the Empire bonus because she is our head of research. So we will now enjoy a plus 5% bonus to research. A lot of our leaders have research bonuses to the Empire, and those should all stack and really help push us along the technology tree as fast as we can.
Secured.
Speaking of, we just finished the research of fusion missiles. Let's go ahead and study. Now, we could go down the robotics path, but I don't really like using robotic pops. So I'm going to skip this for now. We may come back to it later. I think we will choose standardized Corvette patterns, which will decrease our build cost of Corvettes by 5 and increase their speed by 25, and the same for frigates. After this, we will go on to study the ion thrusters, which will make our ships a little faster than the current chemical thrusters we're using. An update from the primitives. Fervent belief. At last the plague has run its course. The age of prophets has come to an end, and a number of major religions are flourishing. With a renewed sense of meaning, the people have begun to rebuild. Understood. So we get progress towards the insight technology, 1,000 society research, and they are going to shift their ethics towards spiritualism, and they're going to gain a fanatic spiritualist ethic pop as well. So we may see this society start to shift more towards a religious society, which is good for us. We're scared of them because they're foreign. We don't want them building a military, but if they're religious, as long as they're not fanatically religious militarists, that may be good for us. They may put up less of a fight when we introduce ourselves. We have found another terraforming candidate. We will ignore that for now, because we don't have the terraforming ability. Okay, I'm going to sell off a bit of food. We've got a good bit of excess here. We're also making a lot of minerals, but I don't like selling minerals unless I absolutely have to. I'm going to use that extra money to buy some more alloys and accelerate the building of our fleets here.
Construction complete.
First contact, the Chi Menace, which was the one that appeared in our home system. And look, there's one of them, actually. The vessels detected in the Diadem system seem to be part of an expedition across the galaxy with purposes unknown. They haven't made any hostile moves, nor is there any heavy weaponry in evidence. Instead, they seem to be broadcasting repetitive, but not particularly content-filled signals in our direction. Our envoy is confused, but hopes that the broadcast will help our linguist translate the language. That's troubling. We're scared, but they haven't really done anything to warrant fear, except fly, you know, a 6,000 fleet power fleet through our home systems. I don't like that. The menace up here in the black hole. Let's see. The Fulaz, it says the Fulaz system, which I don't know where the Fulaz system is. Oh, it's right here, next to this black hole system. Is evidently a xeno layer, judging by the menace presence, which includes a large space station orbiting the primary star. Our crews have been instructed to ignore all transmissions while keeping a safe distance, lest they are corrupted by the touch of the creatures, whatever they may be. If we manage to decipher the transmissions emanating from the starbase, perhaps we can translate their language. We are surrounded by threats, it seems.
Anomaly found.
Okay, one moment. Vibius. Gonna order the building of a mining and research station. Vibius says that although Chowdin 1 appears totally desolate and devoid of life, our scanners have picked up an encrypted signal emanating from within it. Go ahead and research that.
Anomaly found.
We are busy. Gonna stop reading all of these messages. And we have a message from the Freeholders, the Mercenary Guild. Corinth Winklings. That's nice. Good way to start. Our warriors are on their way to plunder your systems. Thanks for the heads up. Face them in battle if you can muster the courage, or cower in fear until they have had their fill of your riches. I think for now we're going to offer a tribute of 500 minerals. We've got plenty to spare. And he says, a pity. I suppose our warriors will have to look elsewhere for entertainment. Your people are safe for the moment. Okay, bud. Let's see. Now, there's no way to improve their opinion of us. With some of these other kind of smaller factions, you can buy things from them or elicit services from them to kind of make them friendlier towards you. But this mercenary guild is not interested in diplomacy, it seems. Okay, and we have an update from Vibius, that signal he found on that planet. Looks like he has found a small station broadcasting an archaic form of one of the main Corinthi languages, such as, like, I'm thinking of this as being like Old English, like New King James Version of English. It appears to be reciting one of the lost works of William Shakespeare, a renowned Corinthi playwright who lived some 600 years ago. You heard it here first, folks. William Shakespeare was an alien. He belonged to my empire. Basically what this is saying is that there is a small satellite dish on this planet that is broadcasting old poetry. We don't know why. Maybe the person that built it was an alien that was just a fan of our work, or maybe something else was at play. Either way, we can say further evidence of our superiority, which gives us a 5-year 15% unity increase and 10% happiness increase, or we can say suppress this nonsense and gain 125 unity, or influence. Let's go ahead and proclaim our superiority. Bunker bots. Let's see, this looks like an update from the Ponel system. They found a bunker that hides a mega computer the size of a battleship. Interesting. It's been there for several thousand years, hard at work solving a very complex problem, which we don't understand. The crew attempted to interact with the computer. They discovered that the facility was in fact operated by a security AI, which tried to fry us alive. As the crew defeated the AI, okay, so good, we won, it broadcasted a message to an unknown recipient. We can say scrap it for parts, which will give us 100 alloys, 100 rare crystals, and 100 volatile motes. Use it to boost our research, will give us a 10-year, 10% boost to research, or let it keep going, which will give us 1900 unity. I think, even though it's a little out of character, we're going to let it keep going. It sent out a signal to somebody. We don't want, like, maybe if the person that built this computer is still out there, I don't want them coming back and being mad that we destroyed their computer. And this unity will probably push us to the next tradition that we can pick. So we'll do that. And speaking of, there's our tradition. So let's pick our next one. Now we have a few options. Because we're going to be going to war pretty soon, at least against the drones, and perhaps fighting off the amoeba and crystal menace as well, I think we should choose the supremacy tradition. This will automatically increase our naval capacity by 20, our army damage by 20, and later on we will have the option to buff our ship build speed and costs, our ship upkeep and capacity, and even our damage and fire rate if we can. So supremacy will be the way to go. Speaking of, I'm going to keep selling, let's sell some consumer goods, those are expensive, and buy some more alloys. Market rates are not going well in our favor because of how much we're buying, but we just reinforced 4 ships to our fleets, so we should only need, I think, 3 more after this reinforcement is done. 1700 fleet power, classes 2 will be at about 1700 afterwards as well.
Construction complete.
I really want to go to combat with these drones in this episode. We've only got about 10-20 minutes left here. But I don't want to throw my fleet into a untimely death if it can be avoided. So if it seems right, we'll do it. If not, we'll wait. At the very least, we may go attack the space amoeba, or the crystals, sorry, that are out here. A group of investigators have found a hidden factory on Grulia that's our newest colony here. The building and its state of decay tells of an old civilization, one that excelled at constructing things that stood the test of time. Our population would easily be able to use a facility to add to the colony's production output. Cool. That gives us an odd factory worker job. Let's see what they do. They make 4 alloys. Okay. I'm happy with that. I'm going to have the Ruthenia build this last little station in the Morgard system, just to kind of be a frontier station so that we can keep an eye on these other systems. And then I'm going to send it back home to start filling in our borders here, especially grabbing this Gamma Valorum system. We have an update on the Chi Menace. That was the one that flew through our systems and is currently just taking a tour through our home territory. Language contains millions of seemingly redundant sounds, apparently dialectic hangovers from their precursor civilizations. When translated, these apparently superfluous filler words seem to serve no purpose other than to add linguistic flavor, or at most have their minor contextual implications. Thankfully, we've narrowed down the obsolete aspects of their language, and we are compiling an abridged lexicon, which should help us communicate with them. Okay, so we're making progress on figuring out who these guys are. I really don't like them flying through our systems, but they haven't done anything. Their ships look kind of cool. Let's see if we can zoom in on them. Interesting designs. That looks very regal, doesn't it? I hope this is the Artisan Guild. I like the Artisan Guild.
Star system charted.
Okay, Vibius finally finished up in the Chowden system. Let's go right to the choke point.
Technology secured.
We have finished our energy grid research. Let's go ahead and upgrade our deflectors next. So right now we're running simple deflectors. This will be improved deflectors. Capable of soaking up even more damage before they die. And then after that comes shield technology. Boros. We have 4 open jobs. Still an open building spot because we upgraded the planetary administration, but we will need to wait. Doing pretty great. 75% stability, providing a 15% bonus to our trade value and resource production. Stability is wonderful. The menace up here in the black hole system. Language, and it's the same update that we just got for the Chi Menace, the millions of extra sounds. That's good to know. Azoria has an unemployed pop. We are doing pretty well on resources, but we could always use more consumer goods and alloys, so I'm going to say we have 5 housing, no jobs, 1 unemployed pop. Let's go ahead and build just because we're going to run low on amenities soon, I'm going to build a city district. That will provide a clerk job and some more housing, and then unlock a building slot. We will then put an alloy foundry in the building slot.
Anomaly found.
The Dwomgar system, Mamercus has found an anomaly. Atmospheric readings from Dwomgar do not match simulated projections. Let's go ahead and look into that. It's close to home, we might as well figure it out. And the Hakalax system, which is in the Grulia system, which we should rename this to Grulia Station, actually. Station. Has some open spots. Let's go ahead and give it a hangar battery. Weird stutter there, my bad. Give it a hangar battery to protect some of the trade that passes through here, or that will be passing through here. And then we will give it, let's see, a gun battery. And then later, we'll have to pick one of these buildings once we have the resources. I think it's... No, it's not a nebula. Our Primus leveled up. Alright, big dog. So he is now level 5. Okay, so I'm getting a warning on the expertise, computing, and industry options. These effects may not work if he's the Empire's ruler. I wish they would just tell me if it would work or not, so that I would know if it's these traits that won't work. In that case, I'm just going to go ahead and upgrade his Unwavering Aggressor 2 trait, which will then bring our ship fire rate up by 10%, tracking by 7, and chance to hit by 7. That should reflect in our fleet power. Yeah, we're slightly above 1700 fleet power now. Speaking of, no alloys. I would like some more.
Construction complete.
Getting there. I am going to go ahead and move Classes 1 towards the Space Amoeba, so that we can be ready to take him out. Let's move Classes 2 as well, get them some combat experience. Okay, Ponel is there. Let's go ahead and move up to the choke points. Update on the Chi Menace. The Carabineers. So we have figured out who they are. They are commercial advertisements. The signals that they were sending us. Apparently they are called the Numistic Order, and are part of a group of spacefaring traders that make a living by offering the best deals, or whatever they claim to be the best deals, to civilizations. Ooh, they're bird people. Well, you don't look like us, so I'm scared of you. Okay, they say, Divine intervention has brought us to your lands, carrying many wondrous things. We are the Numistic Order, and our deals have been forged by the goddess of fortune herself. Cool. Our fleets travel the divine currents of cosmic energy, whether the winds of fortune take us, bringing new deals every time we enter your lands. For a modest donation, the wonders of the universe could be yours. All transactions and credits, please. We will greet them for now. Let's see what they offer. Let's just see. Behold Fortune's Favor, our most trusted guard ship. She was chosen by the goddess herself to escort our cargo across the galaxy. Let's see. She's almost as good as new. Yet she has served Fortune well, and now, for a modest donation, she may also serve you. Oh, okay, so we may be able to buy a ship. As always, if you need time to consider, we can notify you before we leave your territory. So we will need 2,500 energy credits. That's within reach. I think we can sell off some materials and do that. And we will get a cruiser. A cruiser is above the Corvette by 3 levels. So it goes Corvettes, frigates, destroyers, and then cruisers. So that would be a great boon to our military early. Now, it is Xeno technology. We are scared of these guys, but we like our military more than we hate aliens. So let's just see if we can sell enough resources to even get 2,500 energy credits. We can. Look at that. Let's go ahead and buy this ship. And we'll check it out in just a moment. We have an update from... Let's see, Dwomgar. That was Mamercus? Yes. So, immense ragged plains of shadow drift across the planet's face. They are cast not by clouds, but by sheets of organic material, interesting, drifting through the upper layers of the atmosphere, hinged or rather jointed to allow for a small degree of articulation. I'm imagining like a dome across the planet that kind of flexes and moves. Interesting. We are unwilling to say whether these things are flora or fauna, or what possible purpose, if any, their shadow casting might serve, but that will give +4 society research to the planet. I will take it. Let's check out that cruiser. So this cruiser alone has 800 fleet power. Very nice. Look at this. It's beautiful. It may be a Xeno ship, but it is Xeno no longer. It's ours. It's beautiful. Look at that ship. Let's see what it's equipped with. It has small caravan cannons. So these deal 14 to 44 damage, or 12 damage per day on average. That's crazy. They do 50% bonus damage to armor. That's going to be wonderful for fighting the drones. I think we should be able to take them on. They've got good armor, plasteel armor, medium shields, and regenerative hull tissue. An antimatter reactor, subspace sensors, plasma thrusters, everything. Alright. So, I think that we should bring this into a fleet. Both fleets are at capacity. We could probably put this into classes too. So I'm going to pause the shipbuilding queue, which there is none in the queue anyway, so we have just enough space. So what I'm going to do is click on Fortune's Favor, and then shift-click classes 2, and push the group button, or the merge button. And they will now join up with each other. Probably a niche pond once they reach it.
Construction complete.
That's wonderful. I'm very happy about that. Okay. Let's keep taking territory to the south. Look at how good our empire is filling out. We are bringing more and more into our borders. I would love another arid world, but that will happen in time. Let's see. Alright. Okay, we have an update from the menace. Looks like they are avoiding some of our attempts to decipher their language. We can either hack their computers, which will of course make them less happy with us when we get into touch, or we can just say that they are wise. Let's hack them. Boy, they're kind of ugly. I don't like how you look. Okay, Ruthenia, build your mining stations, and then we will bring you back home. Alright, with about 10 minutes left in the episode here today, we are certainly going to attack the amoeba, at least, or the, sorry, I keep calling them amoeba, the crystals here. Go ahead and wipe them out, do some pest control, and then we'll circle back around. And I think we'll just do it. Let's just throw our guys into the fray with these drones. We've got that cruiser now, I'm feeling good. I think we can do it. Web work. Glowing webs of unknown origin periodically illuminate the surface of Drakus 1. Research that, Vibius. Oh, here's the home base of the caravanners. They're not too far off of our borders.
Construction complete.
Good to know. And our agenda is ready, so this is going to increase our resource production by 20% for 10 years. Let's go ahead and pick our next one. I think we will do military buildup. This will reduce our ship build cost by 5%, our upkeep by 5%, and our war exhaustion by 5%. And then when it's launched, it increases each of those values to 20%. Let's go ahead and plan on a third fleet. Well, it looks like we have one already. Classes 3. Let's build this up to 10 ships. Get that going. I'm not sure where it is, though. Where is Classes 3? It's in Diadem. I'm going to send them to Foldora.
Construction complete.
Just so that we have to wait less before they are ready for combat. Classes 2 has made it to Nishpan. I'm going to go ahead and send them in. And I'm going to stop Classes 1. Classes 1 was on its way, but they don't need to help. We've got plenty of fleet power. So they are going to return to Foldora as well. Update. Life Electric. Science Officer Vibius reports that Drakus 1 is covered from pole to pole in a web-like network of electrical filaments. So this is an asteroid that we're talking about here. The network responds to stimuli. We basically have discovered an artificial brain, kind of like the, what are they called, the Boltzmann brains, that's theorized in science fiction. Very interesting. So kind of a naturally occurring computer or brain on this asteroid. Vibius levels up, attaboy. Let's see what he can do. And we are going to give him the only council effect, the statistician trait, just like what our head of research has. Again, increasing our research speed. And Nona, our commander of Classes 2, I believe, yes, has leveled up as well. We're going to give her, now she does not sit on the council, so we will give her the Engineer 2 trait, which will increase our hull and armor regen by 0.5 and 1% respectively. Just in time for her to go
Star system charged.
handle the pests here. Small docking hatch leading to the interior of the asteroid is visible at the rim on a crater on its surface. The hatch was likely concealed once, but has been exposed. Let's research that. You can continue improving the Sarak system, and it looks like we are ready for combat.
Attacking enemy
I'm going to
vessels.
slow down the game and watch our guys. Look at that cruiser. Okay, that's fine. No reports of any problems from the Odd Factory and Grulia. We're happy. So our UV lasers are now this beautiful purple color. We can see the plasma being thrown by the cruiser. We've already wiped out one of their fleets. We're moving on to the next one. We are just eating these guys for breakfast. We've taken some damage, don't get me wrong. Looks like we've actually had one ship had to retreat. I believe that the weapons that these amoeba use... I'm going to skip this for now. The weapons that these amoeba use do penetrate shields. And we are 2 parts shields to 1 part armor, so that's not ideal. We've lost a few ships, it looks like. I don't know if anyone's died, but they've at least had to disengage. Okay, but we did it. Let's look at our summary. So we lost 2 corvettes. That's unfortunate. It's our first deaths, but we still came out on top. We wiped out all of their fleet. So yes, they did 150% efficient damage to our hulls. That's not great. We only did 117% efficient damage. But that is okay. So I'm going to send them through to Foldora. We'll go ahead and reinforce them on the way. And Vibius is nearby. So once he's done surveying this Durakakis system, we will swing down and investigate the remains and go ahead and knock that system out as well. So I'm again shift-clicking on him to have him do that. Demiria's capital is ready to upgrade, so we will do that. Azoria has a free building slot, no jobs, so we're going to go ahead and do the alloy foundries, like I said. This will produce... whoops. This will produce, where to go? 10 alloys once it's ready. That'll be great. Rossmere has had some ethic changes. Several of our abduction teams at the observation post have apparently been using the thrusters of their shuttles to burn large circles and complex patterns into the crop fields. Alright, so we're just doing a little trolling. Shuttle crews have been severely reprimanded for this prank, but the natives appear convinced that the crop circles have some mathematical meaning, and they have a new scientific movement, so they are 10% more aware of us, and they are shifting towards materialist ethics. That's away from spiritual. That's interesting. I think next episode we are going to introduce ourselves to them and put them to work. Oh man, of course, right when I say that we're going to do the ion thrusters, we have better options with the research. We could do a star hold, which is the next upgrade to our star bases. We can learn how to exploit exotic gases. We could improve our corvettes and frigates or do the ion thrusters. I think we're going to go with the ion thrusters. I'll stick with my word. I can be a little indecisive at times, so I need to stick with what I said. We'll go ahead and claim Ponel. I'm going to speed the game up a little bit.
Star system charted.
We found some treasure in that asteroid that had the hatch in it. Looks like it was a pirate base, and we found 1,000 energy credits and 10 minor artifacts. That's cool.
Construction complete.
I think we are almost done surveying the home front here. Go ahead and bring the Ruthenia back and start filling in our borders here. Hephaestion has finished in Sawa. Let's go ahead and grab our next kind of vertex.
Found.
Whoa, lots of updates. Alright, that's too long, 432 days. So Vibius, as much as I love you, you're going to have to skip that for now. Our Minister of State, Posthumus, has leveled up. Now he is both the governor of our capital planet and capital sector, and our Minister of State, so he would benefit from any of these effects, really. I'm going to choose the Industrialist perk for him. This will increase our output of Specialist Pops by 2.5 and 5% respectively. Simple Clean bonus.
Secured.
We have unlocked our next tradition. Let's pick that real quick. Okay, for now I'm going to go with the Master Shipwrights. This will reduce our ship build cost and increase our speed. After this, I think I'll go with Overwhelming Force, which will increase our fire rate. We have unlocked improved deflectors. That's wonderful. And I'm going to go ahead and study FTL, Faster Light Inhibition. What this will do, it makes it that any of our systems that has an upgraded starbase or a planet in them, a planet that has a fortress on it specifically, will no longer, so enemy fleets will only be able to leave that system through the way they entered. So what that means is in these choke points, like on Grulia, if an enemy fleet comes through Siplim into Grulia, they will have to both conquer the planet and destroy the starbase in order to continue down into our territory. So that really kind of freezes enemies in their tracks, really makes these hard points work properly. The earlier the better on that, so I'm going to go ahead and get that.
Construction complete.
Especially as we are kind of in the vicinity of a lot of threats. We have a lot of updates. The menace, that was the aliens near the black hole. Looks like we were discovered in our attempts to hack their computers, so they are probably not going to be happy with that. That is okay. And our Minister of Defense has upgraded as well. Now he is the commander of a fleet and the Minister of Defense. But I'm going to give him the Empire effect, increasing our ship build speed by 10.
Anomaly found.
We are almost ready for an insight breakthrough from our study of the primitives, and we can ignore this anomaly.
Technology secured.
Lots of stuff happening. 30 naval capacity, so we can fit another fleet in. We'll go ahead and do that. Let's buff our habitability by 5%. That will increase our pop growth speed on our non-home systems, and it will progress us towards the terraforming technology as well. Of course, everything's picking up right towards the end of the episode. Let's upgrade Classis 1. They're going to have
Xenos
components,
vivisected.
the new shields, that is. Perfect.
Construction complete.
Okay, Isidore is done in here. So Isidore, I'm going to have them continue to study or to survey these systems out here towards the north so they can return to form. Our governor of Grulia has leveled up. Going to increase the trade value of this planet and sector for now. They don't have much yet, but they will in the future. That's okay. Classes 2 has made it to Voldora. Let's reinforce and upgrade them. Classes 3 has made it as well.
Vessels upgraded.
We'll reinforce and upgrade them there. Slow the game back down to normal speed for a moment just so I can breathe. And sell off some consumer goods to buy some alloys. Reinforce our fleets with the remaining 2 ships. Classes 3 could use some more ships. Later on I will name these fleets something different from Classes X.
Vessels upgraded.
And we're about ready to take on these drones. I think we'll go ahead and do that because we're sitting at about equal fleet power, and we know that we're going to be stronger than them because we are tooled to counter them. So let's just set up Vibius with some more instructions. We'll send him out towards the Core's compass system where the Merchant Guild lives. Ruthenia is here. You can go ahead and build your mining, research, and then another starbase. Numidia is here. You can go ahead and build your mining and research. Thank God we have that many minerals, because we don't have to worry about budgeting. Classes 3 needs an admiral. We'll go ahead and give them Tula Aurea. She will gain plus 20% experience, and her armies will do minus 15% morale, or have 15% less morale, but we're not having her in charge of an army, she's in charge of a fleet. So, I'm fine with that. And maybe that boost to experience gain will help her find some more beneficial fleet traits later on. Okay, we have a few ships to get through the queue, so I'm going to speed up the game a bit just to knock that out. And then we will go to combat and finish the episode
Star
there,
system charted.
after we have crushed the drone menace.
Spaceborne lifeform
Did
encounter.
we find an enemy? Where's that? Oh, Vibius again, narrowly escaping with his life. Looks like he's found another swarm of these amoeba. About 2 plus 3 is 5 plus 2 is 7, about 7,000 fleet power. And they're surrounding a Gaia world. So a Gaia world is a world that is perfectly inhabitable to all species, 100% habitability. And they tend to be pretty large, a lot of space for districts. That is very valuable. So next episode we will certainly be trying to
Complete.
eradicate the pests from this system and taking that Gaia world if we can.
Council agenda available.
In the meantime, I'm going to have him survey this system with this Arctic world. Let's check on our ship
Technology
queue.
secured.
Alright, so we have caught up all of our fleets. We're going to slow the game down. Oh, looks like we just unlocked ion thrusters, and we are able to study the destroyer ship type now. So this will take 54 months, and that's our next ship size. That will allow us to field some larger weapons and more larger weapons. So we can then, if we unlock destroyers, maybe split up some of our corvette fleets into more diverse fleets. That's the best option out of all of these for now, so I'm going to go ahead and start down that path. On the physics front, I think we're going to need to buff our technicians because we have a lot of ships now. When we take these away from the starbase, there's a chance we actually go into the negative with our energy credits because they will not be docked, so we have to pay the upkeep. So let's go ahead and start increasing our energy production. We have made contact with the menace called the Velet Kingdom. Now this is our first actual
Foreign
empire.
power is hailing us.
They are theocratic monarchy. They are xenophobes just like us, so we can agree on that. And they are fanatic spiritualists. Interesting. You hacked into us and now you call us friend. Bah, the Velet Kingdom will remain vigilant towards your kind. That's because we hacked them. Right now, I'm not going to threaten them because we have a lot of other threats to deal with around our borders. But let's tell them to keep to themselves. This will slow down their spy network to growth by 33% on us, but it will not make them openly hostile. We have to tell the people, the news that we have encountered intelligent alien life for the first time has shaken our society to the core. Leaked footage of the creatures is spreading through the media, and many citizens have been gripped by panic, or there's been riots in the streets. Strange Xenos have achieved a level of technology similar to ours, and they are clearly spacefaring. We don't know if they fear us, hate us, or are indifferent to us yet, but we should assume the worst. Let's see where they are. I don't know how far away they are. Oh, they are right on our borders, but it looks like we've kind of boxed them in. Look, so they're here to our galactic kind of southeast. The freeholders here are right on their borders. So they're keeping them from expanding this way because they're not going to give territory. So the only place they could expand is upwards. So maybe I should have Mamercus here explore this little branch through the Nitris system and see if we can cut them off here around the Haraban Nebula. And if we can stop their expansion, we can then kind of constrict on their territory, and it should make dominating this kingdom much easier. So I guess we're going to see how that goes. Now, because they're spiritualists, they're not materialists, which means that their technology may be a little behind compared to ours. We don't know yet. If we actually look at our diplomacy screen, we see that we don't know their fleet power, their technology level, or their economy. We do know that they are hostile, and their opinion of us is worsening, and they are an isolationist diplomacy stance. So let's go ahead and build a spy network. So let's send Hostus Arius, one of our envoys, to infiltrate their society. He is going to start gathering intel, gathering infiltration. Our maximum level of intel is 50. This comes into play with these operations that we can later have him do. Everything from gathering specific information about fleet power or technology, all the way up to literally arming some of their civilians to rise up and rebel against the government. But we have to start early because it will take a while. Looks like their encryption level is routine. It's not too difficult for us right now. I can't imagine in real life how difficult it would be to actually build a spy network on an alien civilization. Because like different ways of life, different languages, different anatomy, biology even, that would be very intimidating. Let's upgrade our fleets with those new ion thrusters, and then we will go straight to combat and end the episode after we have annihilated the drones. They don't know what's coming, they're just floating in space. We know that they have 900 hull points and 1,360 armor on the destroyers. The drones themselves have less of both, and I would like to see... I believe that's it. So we should be able to take these out with relative ease.
Complete.
We have pretty good shields, which will counter their lasers. We have lasers, which will counter their armor. And of course we're armed with justice. These guys do not belong inside our borders, even though they were here first.
Vessels upgraded.
Ooh, we've encountered another primitive civilization in the Opheli system. We will build an observation post when we get around to it.
Vessels upgraded.
Another archaeological site, and we are almost done with the upgrades.
Charted.
Okay.
Vessels upgraded.
Alright, we're done with the upgrades. Let's go to... Finally, we are going to move on the drones. Let's get in there. For the glory of the Primus. Look at our glorious fleet. Even though it's got that Xeno ship in there. It's fine, it's not Xeno anymore, it's ours. Alright, they don't know what's coming.
Construction
Alright,
complete.
slow this down.
Attacking enemy vessels.
And here we go. For too long have these drones been inside our borders. It is time to meet them in righteous combat. Alright, so far so good. Looks like we've already started making a dent in their armor. They have not even made it through our shields on any of our 3 fleets. We have already reduced their fleet power by over 2,000. We are just eating right through them. I heard one of our ships teleport away, so somebody took some damage and had to retreat, but that's okay. We've got plenty of ships. We are melting through them. They're down to 2,000 fleet power. We've cut them in half. 1.5, 1.4, 1.2, under 1,000. We have this one in the bag. And just like that, the drone menace in the Kornagi system, long feared by our people, has been eliminated. Let's see the damage. We lost no ships. Look at that. Perfect run, and they lost most of them. Some of them escaped, it seems, or were otherwise disabled. But at the end of the day, we no longer have to fear the mining drone expansion from the Kornagi system. With that glorious victory, I'm going to end the episode here. We ran a little over an hour, but I hope that you enjoyed the episode. Really action-packed episode here. We discovered our first AI empire. We came in contact with 2 different kind of guilds. We found a mercenary guild and a merchant guild. We are going to have to worry about these guys eventually, but we'll get there. We, of course, removed the drone menace. We removed some space amoebas. We made some technological progress. Lots of good stuff in this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure that you leave a comment down below. I don't have a specific prompt for you this time. You know, just say hey, I don't know. And leave a like if you would as well. I do appreciate that. Thank you again for some of the feedback and support on the latest videos. And I will see you in episode 5. Thank you for watching.